Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this April 29th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. We are glad that you are here with us today. Just know that anytime that you want to find out about us, if you go to eoa.network, that takes you to a link tree where you can find the locations of all of the places where our content is distributed. Facebook, Roku, Instagram, all of those things. So glad you're here with us.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
how are you, man?
It's for second Monday. It's almost like I mean, I worked all the way through the weekend.
Yeah.
But
No, it was a busy weekend. I
yeah,
know.
it was a great weekend actually.
Yeah.
It was fun. The weather's been nice. It's been enjoyable. My favorite time of the year for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see there's a lawmaker in Oregon. They're trying to pass a law that penalizes businesses that don't accept cash. Because there's a lot of places that are,
Right.
or vice versa, like
Right.
some places don't accept card, but there are places that don't accept cash nowadays, and they're trying to pass a law in Oregon where if you don't, you get penalized if you don't take cash.
Why? Because they don't want people to be inconvenienced or
I
something?
guess.
Yeah.
It costs money. Like, at most convenience stores around here, if you spend less than like $5, they
Yeah.
charge you an extra 50 cents on your card,
Right.
which
Right.
is ridiculous in my eyes.
Well, yeah, it seems like would be the cost of doing business. But
Yeah. That should be a cost that you put into
Right,
your.
right.
Same thing with the bags. Screw you and paying for bags.
Right.
Don't add 20 cents onto my thing at the end. Add a penny onto everything that I'm buying.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't like the whole bag thing.
But I guess what? So what do you think the motivation? I mean, I'm not against. I mean, businesses should take cash too.
I agree.
Yeah, but like in our situation, I mean, we don't have very many walk-in customers.
We don't have a lot of change.
We will take cash.
Yeah. But like if you got 100, and I ain't.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult to break.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but no.
I don't know. I think I mean, maybe it's just like whoever's the person who's trying to get the laws passed is probably like, man, I don't want to be just this society where we all walk around with a chip.
Yeah, I tell you, and that could
It's kind of scary.
I'll tell you what is crazy is not crazy, but the with the electronic thing, and the tip part of everything asks for a tip,
It's ridiculous.
It is. The stores, I mean, you go to McDonald's or Arby's or wherever and
It's ridiculous.
it's like, you want a tip for, So now if somebody's serving me or going to some extra effort, like I don't mind tipping somebody who makes coffee for me.
No, they expect our society and COVID had a lot to do with this, but it was already whack before that.
Yeah.
Like, really, you expect me to tip you for a to-go order?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No, it doesn't make. But where I was going with that was the electronic portion of that adds this a little bit of guilt. For me, it does. So in other words, if they
Because they can sit there and look at it and
Yes.
show their friends. Like,
Right,
hey,
so
this dipshit did it.
Yeah, right. If I,
Pardon
yeah,
my-
no, well, and and it's one thing. The other thing is like when the choices are no tip, 15%, 20%. It's
Yeah.
like, or custom amount. It's like, are you kidding me?
So instead of,
Yeah.
so here's the thing. Just write cash on there in the tip spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then don't give them any cash. Then then it looks like you tipped. And,
Yeah. Well, and I don't. But I guess what I'm just saying is that I'm sure they get more tips electronically than what they do with cash.
Oh, I know for a fact.
Yeah,
I've been
right.
in
And so if you, anyhow, so then if you're a business, I mean, and that's the other thing that's kind of crazy about the tip industry is how do you know that it's getting back to, traditionally you give a tip to a specific server
Right.
or person.
Yeah, a lot of places pool tips
Right.
and they
They
split
just throw it all
and-
in and they
yeah,
split it, or you hope that they do.
Right.
They may or may not, but
I'm not a big fan of the whole. I mean, I'm all about tipping. I'm a good tipper. If
Right.
under the right circumstances. If I
Yeah.
get good service, I mean, I'll still tip even if I don't get good service, just because I shouldn't. But also at the same time, I'm like, if the people that are working in the service industry, it they like, you can't rely on the tip, and
Right.
all of them do. All of them do.
Right.
And it's not our responsibility as the consumer to make up the fact that your employee isn't paying you enough.
Right.
You know what I mean? That it should be extra. It's called a tip. It's not.
Right.
The wages should be according to what they do. And the reality of it is, serving food is a minimum wage job.
Right. But the other part of this that is confusing is, like Oregon, Idaho, let's take for instance. Idaho, the minimum wage for a server is less because they want to make up for that in tips.
Yeah, which is ridiculous, because that just makes us as the consumer have to pay their wages.
Right. But in Oregon, they're getting a full
Minimum wage, 100%.
minimum wage,
Yep.
and then tip is on top of that.
Yep.
So between states, it's not even, and so then you giving somebody a 15% tip in Idaho, it's a part of, like it or not, whatever. It's like it becomes a part of their wage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oregon, though, it's a tip.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's
hey,
over
you did
and
a
above.
good job
Yeah.
here. You're working a minimum wage job.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that you deserve all these tips to bump up to $30 an hour, because serving food is not a $30 an hour job.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
Well, and
It's
just
easy. I've done it.
right, and just generally about minimum wage jobs is that and I understand. I mean, this is a whole big discussion that we've talked about from time. The point is it's not supposed to be a family wage job.
No.
I mean, it's supposed to be a step.
School
Right.
age,
Yeah.
you know,
step.
like high
it's
school kid or-
I mean, you like, okay, I need to make more money, and so I gotta get training and get a job.
Yeah.
I really like Mark Browning the other day when he was talking. The emphasis is not college. The emphasis is further training. It's further education so that you can do something that's going to earn you more money.
Yeah, but some people just work as a server their entire life.
Sometimes they do.
Or a bartender, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's some bartenders that make a ton of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A ton of money.
Well, but that's kind of a different thing, though, right? Than
Well,
serving
even
food?
serving, I mean, it's a minimum wage job in my eyes.
Yeah.
You look at a recipe and you pour something into a cup. I mean,
Yeah. I tell you what's funny. We've talked about this before, but I was at a restaurant with Tanya not too long ago, and not too long. It was maybe 5 years ago, and there was a fairly attractive server, and she was just pouring it on. She was just really sweet and cute, and she walked away, and Tanya could tell that I was kind of like pulled into that, and she's like, she wants a good tip.
Yeah.
and
Of
right, and the
course.
point was like, in my male mind, I'm confused, because it's like, wait a minute, that's not all genuine. I'm just not the most entertaining
yeah.
person that there is.
See, I'm past the point of getting confused by that. I've been around it. And
Like I said, this was a few years ago.
Run along. I do tip though good if but appropriately too. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and give you a 30% tip if you don't keep my drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but if I go in and sit down at a restaurant and they keep my drink full and you know what I mean, everything's prompt and they're really nice, I'll go like 25-30%.
Yeah, I've never tipped quite that high.
Well, I've worked in the food industry and the service industry, so I know, like, it can get kind of stressful, and I just want to show my appreciation if they're really good at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's like hammered busy and they're going balls to the wall, I'm gonna give them a really good tip.
Oh, cool, good.
Yeah.
All right, well, hey, you want to do sports?
Let's do it.
All right.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit. Hobby Habit's restocked for the summer with disc golf equipment. Get outside, enjoy this wonderful weather, and get all of your disc golf supplies at Hobby Habit in LaGrange, just for the fun of it. I got out last night and took some picks at the LHS JV softball game. Man, it was beautiful yesterday. The JV girls would go on to lose both games to Baker. I'm not even sure what the score was because I was just enjoying myself, shooting pictures and having a good time. The JV girls play again this Friday. LHS baseball dropped both games last Friday to Pendleton in Pendleton, 16-2 and 11-2. They sit at 3-3 in the GOL, and they go to Baker this Friday to take on the Bulldogs in a GOL doubleheader at 2 p.m. The LHS softball team moved into the #1 spot in the state with an awesome sweep in Pendleton on Friday. The girls are 19-0, and they're no doubt the #1 team in the state at this point right now in the season. They beat the Bucks 7-5 and 11-5, and they go to Baker this Friday as well to take on the Bulldogs in a doubleheader with the first pitch at 2 p.m. EOU baseball concluded their season with a win and 3 losses in Caldwell versus the Yotes over the weekend. They finished 13-36, 9-28 in the CCC, which isn't bad. I'm going to keep saying that. This baseball team's had a lot of diversity, and they just continue to kind of get better. EOU track and field went to the Boise State Twilight meet on Friday. We'll talk more about that on Thursday. And then finally, man, EOU softball, what a weekend. Wow. First thing we're going to talk about is on Saturday, they celebrated their 9 seniors. It was awesome. Some of these girls I've been with for their whole college career, and senior day is always hard for me, especially if it's a sport where I've like really connected to families like the Tyree family. It makes it kind of hard for me, but at the same time, it's time for them to grow up and become, adults. And not saying they aren't adults now, but let's get back to Mountie softball this weekend. They hosted #1 Southern Oregon University, #1 in the country, Southern Oregon University. They were a little flat to start, but the first game went 15 innings. It was crazy. Back and forth. I think the Mounties gave up 4 runs, like in the first couple innings, and we're down 4-0. Emily Berry hits a grand slam home run in the 6th. Maddie Olson follows that up with a solo blast to tie it up at 5. We end up going 15 innings, and in the 15th inning, tied at 7, Madison Olson hits a 2-run home run to walk it off for the Mounties in Game 1. We move into Game 2. And they only got 5 innings in a Game 2 that night because it started getting dark. And so we suspended the game after 5 with the Mounties up 5-3. They picked it up Saturday morning. EOU goes on to win that. So at this point, the Mounties have already won the series. They won the first 2 games. So the conference series is won. And all they have to do is win Game 3 and they're CCC champions. And they couldn't get it done. They ended up losing both the next 2 games by a run and 2 runs, and actually moved to 3rd in the CCC because of it, because OIT and Southern tied with 4 losses apiece, and then we had 5. We would have had the tiebreaker with OIT, so we would have got to host the CCC tournament if we would have won, but we ended up 3rd. OIT has the tiebreaker and will host the CCC tournament this upcoming weekend down in Klamath Falls. It's super exciting, though, for this Mountie team. They're a shoe-in for the national tournament, especially, they only lost 1 series all year, and that was the Carroll weekend, and their #1 pitcher, Kylie Parsons, was out for the weekend. They won the series against the #1 team in the country. They won the series against the #2 team in the country. And they've proved once again that they're a top 10 team in my eyes. There's no question. I like being outside the top 10, though, because they're going to keep second-guessing us. I'd like to go to the CCC tournament this weekend and make some noise and secure a 2 seed going into the national tournament. Tomorrow on EO Live Sports, EOU softball senior Madeline Durham, and junior Emily Berry will join me to talk about the season, the upcoming conference and national tournaments, and about their why. Why EOU softball? Check this out.
First off, the town is just amazing. The community is awesome. And then the people that you meet here, I've from all sports. I've met people, they're just so amazing, and they will be in my life forever. That's the biggest thing for me. Softball wise, it's fun, it's awesome, it's competitive. It's your coaches care about you deeply, and they want us to succeed, and they want you to succeed, and it's all you could dream for.
The community, you can't beat it. They're our neighbor next door. She's 80 years old. She comes to our games.
I love that.
She doesn't know anything about softball, and she comes. She shows up. People show up all the time, and it's just, you can't beat it. We never had that community at Northwest, and like, even if you don't know softball, like Eastern is, or LeGrand is cheering for you. LeGrand wants you to compete, and small town, and we're so close. There's not much to do, but you always have your friends. You always have a house to be at, and we're gonna have fun. We're going to watch movies during the week. We're always there, and someone's always there to love on you, because my family's 6 hours away.
Yeah.
My girls on my team, they are my family, and they're great. Everyone, the community here is unbeatable.
This EOU softball team is not only one of the most talented teams that Coach Christian's ever had, but they're also their chemistry on this team is different, man. It's exciting. They all like mesh really well, and I look for them to make a run at the national tournament. Maybe hopefully get to the final site and compete for a national championship, because they can. I mean, like I said, they won the season series against the number 1 team in the country and the number 2 team in the country. So, yeah, if you can get on EOA Sports, EOU Athletics, excuse me, and find all the information for the conference tournament, the national tournament, and where you can watch it. AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit, just for the fun of it.
All right. All right, good stuff. Thanks, man.
Yep.
Let's take a look outside. It's kind of a overcast day a little bit. Like, it's thinking about raining, maybe gonna rain, doesn't really know.
It's in the forecast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and then
Boo.
yeah. So then, yeah, pretty gray. So then let's take a look at that graphic. So 59 today with rain.
Dang, it's going to get all the way
73%.
down to almost freezing.
Freezing
too.
tonight, yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. So, but look at the next 3 days: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Friday, 80.
Yeah.
I like that.
Sunny, 0% or 2% chance of rain. 0% chance of rain on Friday. 80 degrees.
Perfect.
Yeah. Wind 13 miles an hour, so a little bit of a breeze. But yeah, no. And then the rain comes back a little bit Saturday, Sunday.
And it goes from 80 back down to 54.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Isn't that
26-degree discrepancy
Yeah.
between the highs in one day.
Yeah. Isn't that bonkers?
I mean, that's Eastern Oregon.
Yeah. Yep. So, well, we're glad that you guys are here with us today. And we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Just Kyle and I this morning. Glad that you guys are here with us today. And we're just going to kind of jabber here for a few minutes, and it'll be kind of a short show today. But there's some things that I wanted to mention. One is we had the LeGrand community cleanup this last Saturday. Main Street had an event here in downtown LeGrand, and then LeGrand Rotary did an event that centered at Les Schwab and down the highway. I'll have a little bit of a highlight video for that on Thursday, but really appreciate all of those that participated in that. And primarily it was the EOU football team. Coach Camp brought them out, and I don't know, but there were 30 or 40 players that were a part of that.
Yeah, all the young guys.
Yeah, and that was awesome. So appreciate Coach Camp doing that and the support of EOU. Anyhow, I'll have some video of that. So, and then we have a new Union County Chamber Director. His name is Saj, and it's funny because I think Saj is Indian heritage of some kind, and we'll talk to him more about that. But the cool thing is Saj grew up right here in La Grande. In fact, the way I have known him is that he was friends of my son Brady, and his parents used to own the Quail Run apartments out that burned down out there by Mart. Anyhow, he'll be here with us, and Sajan, excuse me, and he'll be here with us, and I can't even begin to pronounce his last name.
I wouldn't even
Yeah,
try.
yeah. I mean, when I texted him last night, it's like, hey, can you send me your name so that I get it correct? But super nice guy, Eastern Oregon kid, even though that's not his heritage originally. But we're super glad that he's there, and they've been kind of looking for Chamber of Commerce, and we'll talk about this more. They've just had a lot of turnover.
Yeah, they're like a revolving door for
Yeah, and
directors.
part of that, I mean, there's a number of reasons for that. I served on that board. That's kind of a tough, anyhow, we won't get into it. But, so yeah, and the other thing was super interesting to me is we got this in the mail yesterday, okay? This is an Amazon flyer if you want to work for Amazon. Now, the reason this is important, over $22 an hour wage, healthcare, on day one, free skills training. Anyhow, the reason this is interesting is because, as you've known or may have not known, there's a big construction project going out in the business park in La Grande. Nobody has officially said what that is. Matt was here the other day, and Matt Scarfo, commissioner, and we talked about kind of the rumor mill and the wind that's an Amazon center. And somebody had told me that Amazon, when they have these big construction projects, they'll have trucks that are in the parking. They'll have 40 trucks in the parking lot, and they won't have publicly said that there's an Amazon center. That's just how they are. But this is kind of interesting. I'm not sure why they would do a mass mailing unless there was some place
Maybe
close.
online jobs, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyhow, just saying.
I mean, I'm assuming, yeah.
This is a good sign, I think, for us. A good sign for the economy. I guess the big question still is that, and that's the one that Matt asked, is
Who's going to work?
who's going to work?
I don't know if it is a good sign for the other businesses.
Right. No.
Because they're going to pull people from jobs that they're already doing because they probably pay a little bit more, I would imagine. Like if what did it say, $22 an hour?
22.
Like, yeah,
but I mean, when I see the billboards and the advertisements for Boise Cascade and the trailer factories, and I mean they're all around that same wage.
Yeah, but like the trailer factory isn't just a flat hourly. You have to qualify for your bonus every week.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How those trailer factories.
No,
work.
I've kind of, but no, I don't know.
If you miss time at all during the week, you don't get your bonus.
So there's an incentive to show up, be there on time.
Yeah, and like if you take, there's I don't know exactly how it works, but you have to work a certain amount of hours the day before and the day after the day you take off if it's a scheduled day off. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But if you call out sick, you miss your bonus. You don't get your bonus.
Is the bonus, is it
It's
part
substantial.
Yeah. So, but is it over and above your wage, or does that your wage?
Well, I think they probably pay and don't quote me on this, but they probably pay whatever minimum wage is plus a couple bucks, and then the bonus brings that up to 20.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Okay,
been
I
a
get
long
it.
time
I
since
get it.
even
But there's
looked into
a
it.
point. The point is that there's an incentive, a significant incentive
To go to work. Yeah, to not call out sick. Too.
Right.
And I don't think Amazon does that. I mean, I think
Yeah.
you get your $22 regardless. You know what I mean?
Right.
But there's that, like Scarfo said, there's not a lot of people to work that want to work.
Right.
In
And those are
there's
two
a lot of open jobs.
those are two different things, you know, because I mean, there's a lot of able-bodied people. I mean, at least that's what, when people study these things and they do statistics, you know, there's a lot of able-bodied people that just are choosing not to work.
Which is wild to me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how that works. How is that sustainable? You know, I mean, you got to have money somewhere coming in.
Unemployment,
Yeah.
Social Security,
Yeah.
selling dope. I mean,
Right. Yeah. So all of those things are things that just, yeah, they affect our society. So no, that is a big question. I tell you what's interesting is that, you know, and I was kind of ranting at Tanya about this last night, is then when you go to the state, and Matt Scarfo had this same conversation at the state level. When you go to the state and you ask them, hey, help us get able-bodied people back to work, they look and go, well, wait a minute. Our unemployment rate in Oregon is the lowest it's been in several years, you know, and so they have fiddled with the numbers in order to keep the unemployment rate. So they're not counting in the unemployment numbers. They're not counting the people that have chosen not to go back to work as being unemployed. Yeah. So it's super hard, because then from a bureaucratic level, it's like, well, how do we solve this problem? And they're like, well, look at the numbers. We don't have a problem. It's like, well, because you've taken a segment of people that are unemployed, that should be working but don't want to work, and you've just taken them out of the equation. Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Anyhow. And
all a
if I
mess.
have it wrong, please, somebody write me, help me explain it, help me figure it out. I want to, please correct me. So, yeah. Well, anything? I mean, you did sports the weekend. Anything? Did you do anything fun?
Yeah.
You got sun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at EOU softball all day, both Saturday and Friday. That's fun.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite. I mean, it's tie.
Yeah.
Them and volleyball is my favorite sports just because of the energy level but yeah, it was awesome. And then Sunday I spent all day I
think you told me that.
I had
yeah.
the girl that on the softball team. Her name's Callan. It just popped in my head. There you go. Yeah, Callan took 500 and some odd video clips for me on the Sony, and then I took 6,000 pictures in 2 days. Yeah, and I whittled it down to like 264.
Yeah. I tell you, it's funny because I mean, when I was at Michaela's a couple of weekends ago with the grandkids, I probably took 200 photos, and I still haven't gotten through those because I hate calling through photos.
I do too.
It's like the worst thing ever.
I
Yeah.
took 2,000 at JV yesterday and
Yeah.
whittled it down to 161 and had
But
it
do you
posted
just like
last
skate
night.
through them real quick and go
No,
like, okay,
I
that's
look
it?
at every single one.
Yeah.
Of them on the big screen.
Yeah.
I sit there and look at every single picture, mark it.
Yeah.
If I like it, then I go back to the marked folder.
Yeah.
And I edit it
Scale that
and
down.
decide it if I like it or not.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
if it makes the final cut, it goes into a different folder.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. No, I do it.
But you have a system anyhow. So it's
I
like,
do have a system, thank
Yeah,
God. But
yeah.
and I'm pretty good at it, like
Yeah.
recognizing what pictures, and it's just my style.
Yeah.
You can probably guess what picture, like it's gonna be the emotional pictures
Yeah.
are probably my favorite, So
it's fun. I mean, you have developed into an amazing photographer. But
Thank you.
you're kind of at the but now Now when you see a photo and it's like, that is great lighting. That is, it is just it's backlit the amount of, there's
Yep.
enough light on the face, the depth of field and it's sharp, and I caught the action, and all of those things
have to line up to make a great picture.
Yes.
And it's crazy.
Yeah.
But there's times of the day
Right.
that are more
Absolutely.
beneficial to shoot at. And
Absolutely.
I've learned that too. Like
Yeah.
the late afternoon is
Yeah.
is my honey hole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like right when it's
Yeah.
just starting to
In photo land, they call that the golden hour.
the golden hour.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
I mean, and there are apps that you can get on your phone that I mean, it'll figure out where you are geographically, and it'll tell you, oh yeah, this is the golden hour for
Yeah.
And for us, with the mountains all around us, that is different, and so
Yeah, Benny, pull up. Go back to that the softball picks. I think it was in sports picks. It's the high school ones, JV. So the very first folder, and pull up that picture of the girl pitching with the mountain in the background. If you don't mind, real quick. You got it?
just put those photos over Benny, and he'll
I'll tell you when
show
to
you
stop.
which one. Yeah, I think that's it right there. Yeah,
Yeah, that one. That's like
that's crazy.
perfect time of day right there.
Yep.
I mean, almost perfect.
Well,
And that's all natural light. All I did to that picture right there was crop it and turn up the clarity just
Yeah.
a hair.
Yeah.
And that's it. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Nothing with color. No. That's just a crop and run. And that's
and
how.
what land is that 500?
No, that's the 70 to 200.
200, yeah. Yeah, no, and it's just there are so many, and you probably noticed this, but in photography land, the more you zoom in, the more the background is compressed. I mean, that background, that fence,
Yeah.
really looks like it's only 50 feet from or whatever it might be,
Right.
when it's actually, I don't know.
200.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, that's a great.
Part of the reason why I went to those games because I knew they were going to be right during.
Yeah.
The second game was going to be right during
Yeah.
the golden hour. Yeah. And
Well,
it
and it-
showed.
And the other thing in photography land is as you know, is
You
like,
can pull that down now, Ben.
it's the shadows. It's the shadows that make a photo. You
Yep.
know, if you pull up, Benny, show the outdoor shot, what it's like outside right now, the weather cam. I mean, so on today when it's like totally gray like this, the shadows are super muted.
Yeah, it's bland.
It's very
Boring.
bland, right? Yeah, and you can get good photos, but it's a lot harder because see, look at the shadows under the tree. I mean, the contrast is very low.
Yeah.
So
boring.
anyhow, these are all the things that it took me forever. When I started taking photos, it's like, well, why is that attractive to me? Why do I like that?
Yeah.
And so, anyhow, no, good job. That's a lot of fun.
It is it's very rewarding.
Yeah. So,
Like I just like I like the fact that people enjoy them, but the selfish part of me is just like I just like the fact that I get to capture an important moment in somebody's life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then look at it later and be like, oh, I nailed that one. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I wasn't moving at all. Because when you're shooting, say, ISO 2000, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you move even just a little teeny bit, that picture's not going to be sharp.
yep.
I mean, even just a little teeny bit.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to, and I naturally shake. Like
Yeah.
So it's all about like finding almost like a rhythm, and it's
Right.
like it really is. It's
Yeah. When I've taken photos like at weddings, and it's existing light, and the light is low, and you're shooting at a slow shutter speed,
yeah.
and then I'll take 30 photos, and maybe one of them
Will turn out.
will be crisp enough to keep. Yeah, because it is just so, the camera shake is
Camera shake is wild.
It can kill you.
And,
yeah.
and the thing that really annoys me is when something really cool happens, and
Yeah.
I take like 100 pictures, just like quick, like
Right.
a couple quick
Yeah.
fires, just hoping to catch a little bit of it, and none of them turn out. Oh God, I get pissed. Oh man, that pisses me off. Like, you idiot! You should have stayed still. Don't try to get the angle. Like, just stay where you were at instead of moving and trying to get the angle on it. It would have been better to have something than nothing.
Right. No, these are all of the messages that photographers speak to themselves. You know, the other thing that when we started this business, it's been 15 years ago. And when we started, I really thought that photography was on its way out because it was the emergence of HD video. And, you know, and so then, and so we invested equipment in video, HD video. That's what we did, you know. But there's just something magic about a photo. It freezes something in time. It creates an emotion. Yeah, there's just something, I don't know what it is. It's
Bud says there's a lot of distractions that have to stay focused on also. Yeah. A lot of distractions, whether it be, especially softball. Like an EOU game is so loud. I mean, you'd have to go there, but they chant the entire time. BC,
do they?
Both teams. And it's loud, and they're, you know, talking about girl stuff, and they're eating, and there's fans, and there's dads coming up to me, and there's, you know, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm, you know, like trying to like hone in on, you know, this.
Yeah. Hey, there's this play going on. Yeah.
It's like, oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. But part of that is the culture of baseball too, or, you know,
softball.
Softball.
Yeah.
But I mean, just saying at those games, there's a social aspect to it that is unlike football, for instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because you're hanging out,
talking.
Because you can watch the game and be having a conversation with somebody at the same time. Yeah. So.
There are sports where there's not a lot of distractions other than like maybe pretty girls or you know like if you're shooting like volleyball team, the girls being pretty is a distraction.
Yeah,
it's hard. But there's nobody down there in my you know what I mean? There's nobody like in my business. Like in softball, I'm right in the mix. Like either in the dugout, on the corner of the dugout, right over here. I mean, unless I take the 500 and go out to center field. By myself, there's people within 10, 15 feet of me all the time. Yeah. So, yeah. But it's fun. It's
good stuff.
It's excellent. Yep.
Well, all right. Hey, you want to get us out of here?
Let's do it.
All right.
Getting out of here. On this day, April 29th, 1813, the first U.S. rubber patent is granted to Jacob F. Hummel. 1927 on this day, construction of the Spirit of St. Louis, the monoplane, which Charles Lindbergh was to fly across the Atlantic, is completed. 1961, and kids aren't going to know nothing about this. My generation is probably the last generation that got to enjoy this. On 1961 in this day, ABC's Wild World of Sports debuts. 1990 on this day, wrecking cranes begin tearing down the Berlin Wall at the Brandenburg Gate. 2004 on this day, Oldsmobile builds its final car, ending 107 years of production. 2018 on this day, so just about 7 years ago, the animated series The Simpsons surpasses the 635 episode count of Gunsmoke for the highest number of episodes of any TV series in history.
Wow.
2021, the world's longest, and you'll never catch me anywhere near this, the world's longest glass-bottomed bridge, the Bach Long, the White Dragon. They call it the White Dragon. Anything called the White Dragon, I'm staying away from. 632 meters long, opens in Mok Choy Island in Vietnam. Like, I am not going on I don't even like going on concrete bridges or steel bridges.
Let alone
in Portland. A glass where you can see through it? Nope, not doing it. The number one movie in America on this day in 1995, While You Were Sleeping. Mm-hmm. The quote of the day comes from James Baldwin. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. One more time. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. All righty. Well, thank you guys for being here with us. We appreciate it. And We'll talk to you soon.